yeah. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, but I am inside steaming. A lot of my squashes are ready to just be cut open. They're so little. So because they're so small, I'm just gonna cut them open, clean them out, and we're gonna steam them. And then I'm gonna put them through the food processor, and then we're gonna freeze them so that we can have little baby squashes year round. So that is my main job for today. Now I have a few other things here on the table too. I've got little pumpkins, which are, I think they're the baby Pam is what they're called, and they're really good for pumpkin pies. And because we're 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving, these are what I'm gonna use for my pumpkin pies. Now, the other thing, this guy, he's kind of a miracle baby. Apparently, I bought butternut squash at some point, you know, and so in our compost bin, my husband found this guy growing. So we're gonna cut it open and we'll see what's going on in there. I'm sure it's just fine. These things can grow anywhere. I just must have gotten a fertile seed somewhere. So anyway, the other thing I grew, which they are my all-time favorite, are, and I've already cut the skins off and everything, but these are the butter cup variety. My absolute favorite. If you know squashes, you'll know that some squashes, when you cook them, they have a more wet consistency to them. A lot of people love that. Buttercup has a very dry consistency on the inside when you cook it. Now, to me, I love a really dry squash. You add a little butter to it and it just soaks it up and it is heaven. So to me, that is my all-time favorite winter squash. Scott's favorite winter squash, my husband, is the butternut, which to me is a little more wet, along with the acorn squash is another really good one that we love, but that also it has a very wet consistency after you cook it. So if you have cooked all these varieties, you know what I'm talking about. We're in my kitchen, as you can see. It's a very well-loved, well-used kitchen, so you'll have to forgive, you know, the baby bottles and the other stuff that's here. Anyway, I've got a large pot of water I've got going on here, so I'm going to put this on to boil, and then when that is up to a boil, we don't need the small one, I'll set this inside with my squashes that I have ready. And then they're gonna steam until you can get a fork through them, and then we'll move on in the process. That's essentially what we're doing today. And I'm gonna start cutting up some of these little guys. Now, this is a squash corer. I got this in a shop in Freeport, Maine, at the Mangy Moose, I think. If you've never been, go. It is the cutest little place, and Freeport itself is so cute. It's Maudie's Super Squash Scooper, so I love it. I've used it all year round whenever I'm doing squash. Now, the only thing is, with these little teeny tiny ones, it does work, but sometimes when they're really little, just get a teaspoon out. I've also seen people use a grapefruit spoon, so it has the rigid edges on the outside, almost like a little knife edge on the outside, and those would actually work really, really well too. So anyway, this is what it's going to look like when it's all done. And I'm going to put it in skins and all, and then it's easy to then take your spoon again once they've steamed and they're cooked, and you just scoop out the inside, and it's just super easy. So I'm going to get going with these guys, and then I'll show you when I'm all done. I'm done with all my little squashes. Now, it's Time for my pumpkins. Did I say I didn't grow these? I can't remember. I didn't grow these. I don't really have the space for pumpkins, just because if you've ever grown pumpkins or squash, you know that their vines will go to the next county if you let them. I want to try pumpkins at some point because I think the kids will really love growing them from seed and watching them, and you know, the little tiny baby pumpkins. Now, these can be a little tricky to cut with the stem on like that, but it's okay. Oh, that's beautiful. So I'm just gonna kind of cut it into 3 parts. Just so I can get the seeds out better. All right. Now, back to our scooper. See, it just cuts right through. It's beautiful. Get my seed collector here. Oh, I think my water's boiling. It's almost like having a tea kettle where it steams and it whistles. This lid, it makes a big old racket. Okay, here we go. Yep, it is going. So, but what I need to do is bring this out so I can put this great big thing in. Okay. Go. That is not easy to do one-handed. Okay. I'm going to leave that on there tight so that it steams. And we'll keep on going. And I'm going to check it in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to continue to get all the seeds out of my little pumpkin here, so I can make pumpkin pie. Okay, it's done, finally. So I just need some hot mats here. And I'm just gonna bring the whole thing over because I don't want all that water that's in here dripping out. So you just take your food processor, now, because I've already taken the skins off before I boiled them or steamed them, I don't have to worry about doing that now. I'm going to need a slotted spoon because they're falling apart, but that is totally fine. It's okay to have some of the water in because when you start mixing them up, it can get really thick, and a little bit of that water that you use to steam them with will help to loosen it up. All right, so that's enough for now. I still have more in there. All right. All right, that looks fabulous. Now, what I do, because it is steaming hot, I put it into another bowl to get it, to get it to cool down. Because then I'm going to transfer it into plastic Ziploc plastic bags, freezer bags, so that I can then get it in the freezer and it's there for the rest of the winter. So while that's cooling, while this is cooling, I'm going to start some of the other squashes, probably maybe the pumpkins, in the water. And it's okay that you use the same water. It's all the same family. It's all squash. It won't taint the flavor in any way. You just need boiling hot water. You see in here how I have it. Just kind of, you can do it in 2 batches, but to be honest, we're just steaming, and you know, the steam is gonna get all the way up through. And then we'll move on to my baby butternuts and my big butternut, which all can go in the same pot too. All right, so I think we've got it cool enough now. So we can get these just into Ziploc, freezer, whatever plastic bags you have. And I always use quart size because unless you know you're going to use up a gallon of squash in one go, or you know, leftovers maybe, then go for a gallon. So it's still a bit warmer than I thought, but it's fine. I'll let it sit out and get cooler before I put it in the freezer. Now I'm going to try and get all of it into here, into just this one bag, because I don't have enough for 2 quarts. It's funny because you start out with this huge squash, and then you cook it and you maybe get a quart. So it can be somewhat disappointing, but it's okay. All right, now you know, you don't even need any additives to it. Just by itself, it's so sweet. It has a wonderful flavor. It's so delicious. All right, pumpkin is still going. So now, once that's done, I'll get that pulsed up, put in Ziplocs, and then we will get the rest of these sweet little guys cooking. It's a process, but that's why I wait until I've got all the pumpkins and squashes that I want to do and put in the freezer. So I have one day or one morning where this is all I do. I think I've only done this once this season already. You know, it's late fall now. All my squashes and pumpkins, they're all done. And so now it's just a matter of just cooking them up. They're very shelf stable, these squashes, and so you leave them in a cool, dry place. You don't even have to do what I'm doing. You can just cut them up, bake them, soup, you know. But there's lots of different ways anymore to cook that people are thinking of every day. If you have any other ways of cooking squash, preserving it, let me know. Put it in the comments section, because I am all for new ideas, new recipes. And, you know, because sometimes the same old thing gets kind of boring and tired. The pumpkin is all done. It's been steamed and it's been cleaned out of its shell. And now I've got lots and lots of yummy pumpkin puree. So because I'm probably only going to be using it for pies, what you want to do, if that's all you're going to do with it, is just take a freezer bag and your cup measurer. And for a pumpkin pie, it only takes 2 cups of your pumpkin puree. So, yeah, this is a 2-cup. It's just easier to make it with the exact measurements that you need, so that you can just take it right out and there's no waste. Okay, so there you are. 2 cups of pumpkin puree ready to go. And then I'll just mark it with a permanent marker. And then when I want to make a pumpkin pie, I just take one of those out and bam, I'm done. All right. I have 1 3/4 cups left. So what I can do when they come out is just add a little squash to it to just top off this last quarter of a cup, and it'll be totally fine. Most of the stuff that's in canned pumpkin puree is squash anyway. So just saying, it's not a big deal. It's not going to affect the flavor of your pie. It's just going to be super yummy. An absolute thing of beauty. Pumpkin. So I got enough for 2 pies here. Oh wait, I have 3 pies. Looky here. I forgot all about that. So I'm gonna have to get those in, and it doesn't matter that they're 2 different colors. It's all the same thing, really. It's fine. It won't change the taste or the color of it at all, because with everything else that we add to it, it changes colors anyway. So baby butternuts and my buttercup squash, which I will guard with my life. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned some things, different ways of preparing and getting it ready for winter. Like I said before, if you have any suggestions for me of different ways to cook it and prepare it for winter, please let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a really great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.